ഹലോ കയറിയോ? കയറില്ല. തലവേദനയോ? എന്തോ? അതെയോ? എന്താ വേണം?
You can join later. You can join later.
ഇൻവിറ്റീവും ചേർന്നിട്ട് കുറച്ച് ഇടയ്ക്ക് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട്.
അതെ ഒന്ന് ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് 2 മിനിറ്റ് എന്തെങ്കിലും പറഞ്ഞിട്ടങ്ങ് പോവാം. ഓക്കെ. He has severe headache.
Okay. So what shall we do?
Actually, he said he'll join and just join, and then because he's so severe.
So shall we start for the initial programs? Or?
I think we can
wait
do
for
it.
him.
Actually,
Jacob, make Nandan also the co-host. Jacob.
കയറാൻ പറ്റുന്നോ?
Jacob, make Nandan also the co-host. Fida.
Yes, sir.
Can you make Nandan co-host?
Let me try.
Nandan, yes.
I'm not that familiar with Zoom, so let me try.
I cannot do that.
ഒരു കാര്യം ചെയ്യാം, നമുക്ക് തുടങ്ങിക്കൊണ്ട് പുള്ളി ഇടയ്ക്ക് ലെറ്റ് ഹിം ജോയിൻ ഇടയ്ക്ക് നമുക്ക് കൊടുക്കാം പുള്ളിക്ക്. ഇത്
one minute. Fida, can you do that? Jacob, make Nandan the co-host.
I'm trying. I'm not that familiar with Zoom, so.
No, you just right click. You can see whether.
Yes. Let me just see.
Jacob, are you there? Jacob, are you there?
Sir, I can't find an option to make him the co-host.
Hi, sir, Nandan here. I think it's not required. We can start. Sir, you are muted. Arindlal, sir.
Can you speak, Nandan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shashuba, how about?
Yes, I think we can start. Nandan,
okay, Fida.
Nandan, namaskaram, Nandan.
Okay, Fida.
Okay, sir. We'll begin.
Yeah. Okay.
So a very good day to one and all, and a warm welcome to the 37th session of the Intersociety weekly webinar series, jointly organized by IEEE Kerala Section, the Institution of Engineers Kerala State Center, Computer Society of India Trivandrum Chapter, Project Management Institute Kerala Chapter, Internet Society Trivandrum Chapter, Vakkom Moulavi Foundation Trust Trivandrum, and IEEE Engineering in Medicine and Biology Kerala Chapter. So the past decade has witnessed a tremendous growth in technology, and the word online has become too common among us. And cyber development is running to its peak day by day, and so is the number of cyber attacks that we have. So moving on to a new year of hope, and a hope where faces may or may not get confined to screens, here we have a discussion on cybersecurity. Presenting panel discussion on 2021, a more cybersecure year. Today, with us, we have 3 known speakers who are very much the right people to comment and present their views on the topic. We have Akash Agarwal, our keynote speaker. He's the Regional Director, India, Middle East and Africa EC Council. We have a moderator, Dr. Sashikumaran S., CEO, METTS's Trivandrum. And we have K. Padma Kumar, Managing Director of Kerala State Rutronics, our opening address speaker. So before we begin, I would like to remind all of you about the feedback form that we have that will be provided during the session. And you can mention the requirement of the certificate in the feedback link as well. And the recordings of the session will be sent to those who have registered. So please take note of these things. And so as we begin our session today, I would like to invite Athena Nixon of IEEE for the welcome address. Can we have you, ma'am?
Yes, thank you. So, victory is always possible for the person who refuses to stop fighting. Good evening, everyone. I warmly welcome you all to the 37th webinar of Intersociety webinar series on the topic, Is 2021 a more cybersecure year? Today, we aim to discuss about various certification programs and its employment potential for professionals and students. To talk about the topic, with immense pleasure, let me welcome Mr. Akash Agarwal, Regional Director of EC Council, to share his knowledge and thoughts on challenges in cybersecurity. Welcome, sir. As a moderator of the session, I invite Dr. Sashikumar S., CEO of METTS's Trivandrum. Welcome, sir. Next, I would like to introduce K. Padmakumar, sir, Managing Director of Kerala State Rutronics, and all other distinguished personalities gathered here for this session. Once again, I cordially welcome you all to this event. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I would like to request Professor Nandan of Internet Society Trivandrum Chapter to introduce our honorable speakers. Can we have you, sir?
Yeah. Good evening, all. So, I'm so happy to introduce the moderator of this session. So today, the topic is so relevant nowadays. Why? Because we are in the virtual world. So, discussions on cybersecurity and related things obviously finds, very serious discussions among professionals as well as students. So today's topics will be of very crucial for us, for professionals especially. So I'm so happy to be here to welcome, to introduce Professor Sashikumaran S., the moderator of this session. Professor Sashikumaran S., who is the CEO of METTS, Media Technologies Training and Software Solution Trivandrum. He is the former professor and founder chairman of the Department of Computer Engineering of King Khalid University, Ministry of Education, Saudi Arabia. Presently, he is also serving as the chairman and managing director, Academic Accreditation and Human Resource Development Associates Private Limited, and member of Board of Governors of Sri Chitra Tirunal College of Engineering, Trivandrum, and adjunct faculty at Alagappa University, Tamil Nadu. He is technical support provider of Kerala State Rutronics, offering online and offline training programs in latest IT, media technologies, and cybersecurity certifications in association with Edureka Bangalore and EC Council, Mexico. Professor Sashikumaran received BSc Engineering and MSc Engineering degrees in Electrical Engineering from Kerala University and PhD in Computer Science from Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. He has 42 plus years of teaching, research, training, and administrative experience in NIT, QSAT, MG universities, and 17 years in other public and private universities outside India, such as Multimedia University, Malaysia, Philadelphia University, Jordan, and King Khalid University, Saudi Arabia. He had started the first BTech degree course in information technology at QSAT and was a founder head of the IT department. He has experience in accreditation activities of NBA India, QAA UK, UPed USA, and NCAA Saudi Arabia. He has several publications in Indian and international journals and conferences to his credit. He has been serving as committee member in various international conferences and editorial board member of international journals. He is a senior member of IEEE and member of ACM and life member and fellow of Institution of Engineers India. So I would like to welcome you, sir, to moderate this panel discussion. Welcome, sir. Over to you, Sashikumaran, sir.
Thank you, Nandan. Very good words. You have shown a lot of, words regarding me. And I welcome all of you to this wonderful evening. And today, as it is said, we are in a totally threat situation. COVID is one side, and the post-COVID scenario with the new technology, things are coming up. So in total, we are in a very difficult situation going on, and 21 will be a good year for us or not. We will be able to hear from the people of security in the world, EC Council, and Mr. Agarwal, who is spearheading the regional director of EC Council, Mexico. As you know that the pandemic situation has created a lot of havoc in our system. New things are coming up, and post-COVID period is creating a lot of new ideas, like remote working, then e-learning, a lot of digitization happening in the IT scenario. So because of all these kind of things, the security has become more critical. Even the countries are in threat today. So 21 will be a somewhat difficult globally because of the new situation existing, which will have a lot of problems in the future. So even the governments are trying to find out separate amount money for how to secure the country. So things are going in a different directions. So all these are creating us a situation that we need a very good cyber security professionals in the country. And so the EC Council is the body in the world who does a lot of research, develop tools, and also conducting a lot of certification program to equip the professionals to cater the needs in the future. As you know that this issue is going up very big way. So correspondingly, when the demand is more, naturally the certifications which are to be given should be good enough also. There are a lot of cheating type of certifications are going on in the country. To overcome this kind of situation in Kerala, METS has taken a decision to, in addition to propagating the various technologies among the professionals, but also give a clear certification, and for which the METS has associated with the Kerala Rutronics to provide a support system so that a genuine certification will be available to the people. So we have two personalities, as it was mentioned here. With these few words, I request Managing Director of Kerala State Rutronics, Mr. Padmakumar. Padmakumar is a known, professional who is a managing director, senior level managing director for so many years. And now he has given the position as the managing director of Rutronics, the major the institute in the state to propagate the technology at the cheapest level. So he has taken a lot of initiative to broaden the availability of the technology to the village level. And because of the initiative, recently the Chief Minister has opened the infrastructure of Rutronics to provide an online platform at the village level. He is basically a graduate in mechanical engineering with an MPhil degree in future studies. I request Mr. Padmakumar to say a few words in a couple of minutes and inaugurate the function. Thank you very much. Muting on.
Padmakumar sir, you're on mute. Yeah.
Okay, right. So thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you, for being with us in this seminar. Well, I think the star of today's evening is Mr. Akash Agarwal, who has a lot of things to tell about cybersecurity. And more specifically, the programs which are available with the EC Council on skilling for cybersecurity through various kinds of programs. I had a glance at the programs. They have more than 12 certifications, which are state of the art. Now, just to mention our interest in this program, well, I think around 2000, there were some programs run by government agencies in the area of mainframe computing, which helped a lot of engineers to get very decent jobs and even migrate to other countries to earn much more than they could get in local jobs. Now, the focus of Kerala State Rutronics is actually Kerala Rural Women's Industrial Electronic Cooperative Federation. It is a very long name. This is the short form of the name of the organization. The focus initially was mostly on programs at the diploma level. Now, when I joined 2 years back, I thought it worthwhile to venture into areas which are much more relevant for BTech and MTech graduates. Now, the area which we dwell with is the skilling in various platforms. So we thought about having a collaboration with METS headed by Dr. Shashikumar in the area of multimedia, VFX, digital compositing, motion graphics, so on and so forth. Now, with my passion and some academic background in areas like business intelligence, data science, simulation modeling, I thought it useful to look at these programs and offer to the student community at large. But there we came across the programs of EC Council based on a discussion between Dr. Shashikumar and the country head of EC Council, and even Mr. Ragash Agarwal, who oversees a much broader region, rather the continent, and I would say, Middle East. And we thought it worthwhile to look at some programs in this area, which ranks among the highest in terms of potential for jobs. The potential, well, I think the first rank is shared by artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, and closely following the heels of this is data science, analytics, so on and so forth. So that is where we are now keen on propagating these programs. Initially, all the programs were in the offline mode. Now, currently, we have a setup and structure where we are able to offer these programs in the online mode. That's actually an offshoot of COVID-19. And we were pioneering the initiatives in the state of Kerala. And our online platforms, including the online assessment platforms, which are open to schools and colleges, were launched during the past 3 months. The initial launching was on June 1st. Now, we are now looking at broad-basing training interventions among BTech and MTech students, maybe final year, who are just going to be job seekers, and looking at fairly decent enrollments in this area of ethical hacking. So that is where we got in touch with Dr. Shashikumar, who was keen to help us out in structuring these programs. Well, the connection that we provide is a government level, I would say, providing an impetus from a push from the government side. The EC Council certification technically doesn't require any advocacy, because I think it stands alone, very tall in nearly 145 countries. So that's a kind of the credibility that the EC Council has. But of course, I think we are also able to do something. But we started off only 2 months back. So therefore, the main activity would be in 2021. But still, we are also trying to push hard during the current year also, which is coming to an end shortly. Now, this is all about the background and the passion and the interest of Kerala State Rutronics in these programs. And now I would probably hand it over to the moderator after, I think, a few words to inaugurate this session. So I am extremely happy to push this seminar rolling and formally inaugurate this webinar on ethical hacking, which maybe starts with programs on pen tester, CPENT, That's the kind of program. I think all details will be explained by Mr. Akash Agarwal, so I'm not going to that. So I hope that all of you would get a very decent understanding about the role of the EC Council, the relevance of cyber security, rather than I think a generic knowledge we have on this subject. So that that will be clear at the end of the seminar, and I very happily once again formally thank you all for giving me an opportunity to be with you today evening. Thank you so much. Sir, I think it's up to you for moderating the rest of the seminar. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now I would like to welcome Mr. Akash Agarwal. As it was mentioned, he is the EC Council Regional Director of India, Middle East, Africa. He is responsible for leading the EC Council's business operations in information security, training, certifications for business acceleration. He has more than 23 years of experience in this field, and he is an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad, holds an engineering degree in mechanical engineering and MBA in marketing and finance. I welcome Mr. Agarwal to this function and request you to take over. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Dr. Shashi Kumaran and Mr. Padmanabhan. I'm so very grateful to you and your organizations and also the organizers of these webinars. A warm welcome to all those who are logging in today as participants. Thank you very much for having a listen to this. Now, without much ado, I will start my talk here, which is not going to take much time, but this is primarily, I mean, we've been talking about cybersecurity. We've been talking about the way cybersecurity has is been shaping up over the last few months, or shall I say almost a year now. So Dr. Shashi Kumar, let me know when you can see my screen, because it's important that I show my screen.
It's okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So I'll share some of my opinions, some of the stories that I have, and possibly that will help you in looking at from an angle that possibly you may not have looked at it before. Dr. Shashi Kumaran, if you don't mind, can you mute, because there's a background noise coming in from your mic? Thank you. So my name is Akash Agarwal, and as said, I'm responsible for a business of certain section of the geography in the world. So I run EC Council's business all over the world, and my responsibility is to create capacity so that we can generate more competent, and not just in quantity, but very high quality cybersecurity experts. You would see today that how much they are required. And for last almost 9 years now, I've been working with this organization. I'm very, very fortunate to be in this field, as they say, to be in the right place at the right time with the right kind of people around you. So fortunate enough to be working in this field, which is so very much in demand today. Have a listen, guys. Thank you very much again. So we are going to talk about 2021, a more cybersecure year, or is it going to be something lesser than what we had in 2019, or a different year altogether? Let me dwell into the past first. So it was around February, if I remember, or shall I go even before that? So it was around 2013 and 14 when I had joined EC Council. It had been a year almost. I joined in 2012, and then I kind of was speaking in a global conference, one of the physical conferences at that point in time, and people did not hear about pandemic. They did not know about the possibility of pandemic, but there was this one interview that appeared on internet which was talking about pandemic. We did not know the meaning of pandemic. Even I kind of looked for it in the dictionary, and and couldn't believe that such thing could happen. So I just shrugged it off. People did talk about that in that particular global conference. And then imagine I lived in that notion that there's nothing called pandemic. It's just a theoretical thing. It's just a bookish thing. And comes 2020 February, when I was traveling overseas outside India, and I saw in the plane there were few people who were wearing masks. Even I bought a couple of masks and a sanitizer from the airport, but I was pretty skeptical because out of 300 plus people who were there on board, there were hardly like 20, 30 people who were wearing masks, and there was no checking and so on and so forth. I reached the destination airport, and there was a bit of checking. And when I kind of had to, kind of come back, because I kept hearing every day there was news that was coming in. And I cut short my trip and came back to India because I heard that there could be something where they could, stop the airlines and so on. But that was not in public. That was amongst the close circle, which I was privy to. Then after that, what happened? There was this Janta curfew announced. I thought it's a one-day affair. That's nothing big as such going to happen. Then there was a 3-week lockdown announced. I hadn't heard about a lockdown. And then when the railways were stopped and things went down, I never imagined that it will go on and it'll continue till now. We've been hearing that there are organizations which have already announced their work from home till June, some of them till the end of 2021. Well, every day was exciting in terms of, new things were coming up. I have a very large team at my disposal. So I had to shift everyone overnight into work from home. And this team is located globally. I'm sure most of you I saw in the participant list are pretty senior in hierarchy, and you've been working for almost 1 or 2 decades. And you would know the pains of shifting people to work from home, maintaining the discipline and ensuring the productivity is maintained to that level. Well, here we are. We don't know what is there in store. And I was asked to talk about 2021. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So whatever I'm going to speak today, I've been reading about it. I talk to a lot of people, but it'll be my point of view, and you may differ, and that would be our point of discussion or the topic of discussion later on. We've seen this diagram a lot of times where the evolution has happened and people are more adept at working at computer all the time. And let me show you my picture, how I look these days. This is how I look like these days, surrounded by computers all around. And I have right now I'm sitting at my desk. I have at least 6 gadgets around me, and this is what it is. And then there is another room where my wife is working, and then there's another room my college going kid is kind of studying, again surrounded like this. So our dependency on technology pre-COVID was not this bad. Post-COVID is becoming worse. Shall I say worse, or shall I say it's becoming more and more depending on the technology? You like it or not, but that's what the reality is today. So let's take a look at the landscape that we have today. Today, when we talk about these things, I mean, this is pretty much your life, social life, for example. We all know we live in the era of Facebook and Instagram and Twitters of the world. And that's our social life today. Social life of yesteryears, when I was younger, or when you used to meet the friends physically, is not there anymore. So this is today. We are in 2019, 2020 types, while the COVID is still on. So we kind of e-meet. We are well versed with how a meeting is done online, or how do we make friends. We are learning the nuances of privacy. We are learning the nuances of communicating online, what to put, what not to put. We know that our Alexas and Siris are listening to us. Our mobile phones are continuously listening to us, whether they are connected to internet or not connected. So these things we are already aware of today. And we are learning every day as to how we ensure that we don't speak certain things that we used to do, because we are always in the public eye. Then we talk about communication. I would request people to please mute. It seems there's a background noise coming in. Thank you very much. Then we talk about communication, for example. We all know, I mean, I'm not going to tell you about how the telegram, then telephone, then a whole lot of communication has changed, but the etiquettes of communication has changed now. People are not communicating the way they used to. Remember, I'm still talking about today. I'm not talking about tomorrow. Travel. We've come from an era of no travel, slow travel, fast travel, super fast travel, and we are in an ultra fast travel today. I mean, given the relativity between what we had earlier and what we have today. So how are we traveling? We were pre-COVID. I mean, even in January, February 2020, we were traveling virtually more than this. But the moment COVID happened, we were 80–90% virtually. I still am traveling because of my business. It takes me to places. I'm taking all the possible precautions, and wherever I get an opportunity, I kind of ought to, kind of go out. But largely today, the way we are meeting, it's like I'm in a physical conference right now. So around me, I've built up an environment where I really don't need to, kind of shift paces from my place to another place. We talk about entertainment. Yeah, we know Netflix and Amazon Prime and CBS and so on and so forth. That's always available. I remember when I bought my first mobile phone in '99, I kind of had a mobile phone and a torch and camera and all those stuff. But I always used to think those days that there would be a day when all these things will be in one. It came in, and I've read a lot which said that there would be video on demand. We have that. And the future, as you know today, I can watch any kind of an entertainment thing at my fingertips from anywhere in the world. I subscribe to several channels from across the geography, and I can watch any program whenever it is live in any part of the globe. That's entertainment for you. And it's not just the movies and so on and so forth, but what's important is the world of entertainment per se. It's beyond movies, beyond the TV shows, etc. I never imagined that I'll be playing in a casino in Las Vegas. Thank God I still don't play. I don't even know how to play that. But there are facilities available, and certain parts of online gambling is available today in India also. Where are we moving? So just to remind you, sorry for being repetitive, it's today that we are also gambling, and we are doing all sorts of things in the name of entertainment, sitting behind our screens today. We're talking about the way advancements is happening, and the rate of growth of advancement is humongous. This is something which is bothering me, because we used to grow slowly from 4 wheels in 1904 to without wheels in 2020 to God knows where. We are going to do very, very quickly. Next year, possibly we might be in space, thanks to some of the organizations that are working to, kind of put you on Mars and put you on Jupiter and so on and so forth. So the point is, the rate of advancement is increasing extremely high, extremely fast. It worries, because are we ready for that kind of advancement? But in our madness, we are moving ahead, blind spotted sometimes, breakneck speed. Research, this is another field which has given us positives, which has given us negatives. One of the best demonstrated positivities of research work is the COVID vaccine. In record time, can you imagine, guys, 4 to 6 months and the vaccine is out of such a dreaded disease that it has already been administered, and maybe in a month it will arrive in India. I mean, from whatever I've read from the newspapers and periodicals. The point I'm trying to make is the world is already advanced for the most of us. Next year, everyone is going to be on 5G. There are 300 crore people who are on still 2G. Next year, I read it somewhere that the mobile phones, 5G enabled mobile phones will come at 4,500 rupees, which means almost everyone would go in. Now, what is 5G? I'll not cover it here, but you can imagine a very high speed internet would come in the hands of every single Indian. And you know, we enjoy the cheapest rates of internet. Now, what does it mean? It means that all these things will be available to everyone in this country. This is what is today's landscape. Then COVID happened. There was a complete reset of COVID. Number of calls that were made during a Diwali or a Christmas, for example, when the number of calls used to go into, you know, kind of millions or crores in a particular evening or a particular week, these days it's commonplace. The speeds of 1 Gbps internet, 2 Gbps internet is common these days. There was this global reset. We were all confined inside, so which means the rate of advancement, which I was talking about just a moment ago, has now further increased. There are organizations, the telcos, for example, I'll not even go to America's telcos, our own indigenous telco companies, they have been developing a lot of technology which was unheard of, unthought of just 3 years ago. So it's a global reset. Thanks to this COVID, people have now are now becoming adept at adopting things very, very quickly. We are ready for a shock tomorrow. We heard about that was another variant in one of the countries in the West, where another variant of COVID. We said, okay, another variant. So I know how to take care of myself. I'll have a mask. I'll have a sanitizer. I'll take care of this. So at least we are, kind of psychologically prepared for another pandemic. Well, we should be. So the mindset has changed. The technology is becoming faster, but is it enough? Are we moving to is this transition okay? Is this transition helpful? Are we ready for this transition? Are there enough policies? See, please understand, when you use a computer, when you switch on a computer, there are a series of events. Most of you are pretty learned on this call, and I'm sure you know what the protocols and all those things are in a computer machine, and extrapolate it to any complex situation, you will understand what I mean. There's a standard operating procedure. There's a policy that is being followed. We've got the policies for everything, including cybersecurity. So, are you ready with the policies? There were days when there were norms by some auditing companies and auditing practices that a policy must be defined again or refined again or revised again in 3 years' time. Ladies and gentlemen, policies are to be revised, redesigned, refined in real time these days. Do we have enough manpower? Do we have enough thought leadership to do this? That's the first thing, that if you're representing an institution, organization, enterprise, or you are an individual, think about it. Is your computer, the machine on which you're listening to this, is your mobile phone, is your iPad ready to take on the next generation technology that is going to come? And next generation is like 6 generations ahead, let me tell you, thanks to the global reset because of this COVID. There would be technology issues. There would be massive tech issues, network related issues. For example, I have to upgrade my network speed every month. My VPN, my firewalls, all those things have to be updated every month. Thank God I'm in a position where I could, I have the privilege of having people around me who help me with that. Ask this yourself. Are you or your organizations equipped with that so that you could, be upgrading yourself? Let me give you an example. So I was paying this bill online because earlier what was happening was I used to go to the grocery shop, purchase material, pay either in cash or credit card, and then come back. These days it stopped. I call this guy. Some of them have an app also. I call this guy, ask him to pack the grocery, the pulses, the lentils and everything. He drops it at the doorstep, and then I have to either Paytm or transfer the money to him. Now, hackers are eyeing on it. And this is just a small example of an individual. You can extrapolate it to your enterprise. Hackers are eyeing on my computer. Now, imagine if my computer is old, it is not updated, then what will happen? They'll gain access to this. And once they get access to this, it's very easy to, kind of gain access to my network and everyone else who's connected to the network. I'll give you an example of this. So, for instance, one of my younger versions in the participants now, who would have a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old kid, he must be using a computer to study in his school, online education these days. Your wife may be working somewhere, or she's working somewhere in another room. Your kid is studying in another room, and you are sitting on your study where you are attending this call. Now think about it. All three of you are using the same network. And there is your another relative, maybe your parents or someone who's watching television, Netflix or something. So same network, right? Now, if I have to gain access to your computer because your computer has some valuable information which I'm very, very much interested in, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to not attack your computer. I'm going to attack the weakest link, which could be either your parents, your kid, or your wife, and then gain access to your network and go in. So there's a massive impact from that angle also. The family impact has been there. Then I work on a lot of confidential things. That becomes a challenge because I'm not using an enterprise grade Wi-Fi right now. Or firewall right now. I mean, if I'm a normal Joe, then I'm not using that. There would be confidentiality issues. Then it gave rise to a lot of trust issues also. I mean, we can debate it later on, but gender inequality, the issues were there. Then there were people who were of the age group of, say, 25 to 32, 33, and so on and so forth, who had different responsibilities at home. For example, if a woman has been asked to work from home, and just visualize this in a conventional orthodox home I'm talking about, yours may be different. So I'm just taking one of the scenarios where a woman is expected to, kind of cook, run the errands, take care of kids, and work too from office. So imagine she's preparing breakfast for you quickly, lunch, dinner. At the same time, she is squeezing work. Her boss is expecting her to work as she was working in office. When he finds out once, twice, thrice that she was skipping, kind of certain meetings or late for certain meetings because, and there were very genuine issues she had. And unfortunately, the boss didn't understand. There would be trust issues. And this is massive. This is really, really massive out there. Imagine if you have a smaller house and three people are living in the same living room. One is listening to the television, another one is attending classes. You are also attending a meeting. There would be background noise. Now, another kind of trust issues, data protection issues. This is one of the biggest problem here. So a lot of you would be carrying some sensitive data, and it is very easy to kind of lose that data. I've already talked about that. Now, we are in the era of industrial revolution, the fourth one, which industry 4.0, I would call it as the cyber industry era 4.0. Here we have, this is the first one, second one, third one. You're a learned audience, so I would not go deeper into it, but that's what we are into today. It's after the computer and automation. So don't misunderstand me in case you are uninitiated and do not know about that. Third industry revolution was computer and automation. We are in the fourth one, where all the machines are getting connected to each other. So where are we? We're making the factories smart, which means wherever you're working, factories is a figure of speech. You may be working at home, you may be working in an office, you may have a white-collared job, you may be working on a shop floor having a blue-collared job, but everything is becoming smarter because you're connecting them together. So we are going to talk about 4 things or 4 platforms on which it is standing on. The first one is accelerated digital transformation in the recessionary times. So when we talk about, there is a transformation that is happening across the board. Everything is getting digitized. The customers, the customer relationship management software, the ERPs, and everything is getting connected to each other. This is happening, and it is making the world more complex. I'll not go into the details of digital transformation. It's a different topic altogether. Then there are platforms, aggregation platforms, social platforms, mobilizing platforms, learning platforms, which are there. When I talk about aggregation platform, you would have heard about Uber, Ola, and so on and so forth. These are the aggregation platform. Again, you're making everything. Social platforms, you know. Mobilizing platforms like open source software, for instance, the Linux, Apache, all these mobilizing platforms, and the learning platform. So when you talk about digital transformation, when you talk about making everything digitization, these are the 4 kinds of platforms that are there. And then the world is moving towards VR and AR, virtual reality and augmented reality, which will reshape the entire communication and learning. Then we talk about something called as self-swear. We've got Hey Siri, Okay Google, Hi Alexa. We talk about all these things today, and they follow what we say. But there would be a technology tomorrow which will actually suggest you, why are you doing it like this? You should do it like this, based on artificial intelligence. So this will again replace these things. So this is what Industry 4.0 is. I'm not going to tell you what these things are, but what is important for you to understand as a user of IT, as a user of that mobile phone, which will soon have a 5G connection, which will run at 1 to 3 Gbps speeds. Are you ready to kind of get adapted to these things? These are those important things which is very important for you to understand. Now, the problem today is, while this technology is moving very, very fast, we are seeing that the entire world is moving towards a very, very advanced technology compared to what it was yesterday, what it is today. 2021 will be a pretty different year. It will be a very high technology year. I attend a lot of technology forums, so I can easily tell you that, remember today, note it down, what are the things that you're using today. Open this diary in December 2021. You'll find that whatever you're using today possibly is going to be obsolete. The problem is, will you be a victim in 2021? Because cybersecurity is not being taken care of. Pre-COVID, there were 4.07, one of the websites told us, one of the major researcher has told, that 4.07 million people, cybersecurity, high-end cybersecurity professionals were required. Remember, I told you I am responsible for building capacity to ensure that we could train a lot of people so that the quality and quantity comes out as is required, but there is still a gap of 4.07. Guess what? Global reset we were talking about. And in global reset, if there were out of 100 jobs earlier, 10 were cybersecurity, now it is 20. which means we can easily count. I don't have a surveyed figure as of now, but understand one thing, we've got 8+ million people that are required, and that too in advanced technology. So people who are already in cybersecurity, they have to advance themselves. People who are not in cybersecurity, people where the organizations that have the gaps, now they require 8 to 10 million more. So the gap has doubled during this 1 year. It wasn't doubling. It was, I think the CAGR was approximately 35–40%. But now imagine it has grown to this extent. Now, another thing, which is even more important, each one of us around the planet who are using any kind of mobile device or computing device, which also includes a mobile phone, has to be trained on cybersecurity awareness. So in several of my talks, I always say, oh, you're a mobile phone user, is it? Do you have a license to use your mobile phone? And people listen to me as like, I don't know, what am I talking about? But now people have realized what I mean by this. When I say license, are you skilled what not to click and what to click? You would have heard about ransomware, phishing, wishing, and all those things. So you must be pretty aware about these things. So this is somewhere we're talking about. Good news here is, if you are one of those who influence youngsters or who influence professionals, or you are one among those who wants to get into cybersecurity, there's a job for everyone. 1 crore jobs around the globe is not a joke. Today, we are in a recessionary trend where we are talking about the jobs are not there. But remember, guys, there's a 1 crore vacancy out there. And you know something? Average salary rise this year to next year for any cybersecurity guy would be approximately $20,000 to $25,000 an annum. So if his salary was this, and then he'll be earning more than $20,000 to $25,000 in 1 year. The problem are twofold. One, we don't have those guys. Second, those guys who are already there, they need to reskill themselves. So that's something, kind of gives me solace that, okay, there's an opportunity out there. And if I, kind of enter into this field, I'll be able to get a job, and a super one. So here is a list of some of those fields. I mean, not of interest here, but I thought that some of you might ask this question as to who are those guys required out there. So look at the percentage growth of the year on year that people will be required. But the bigger issue is this. Let's not talk about what are those who are required. That can be a separate topic altogether. But let's look at the bigger issue here. The phishing email that I was talking about, I receive a very, for last few days, I've been receiving that, do you want to do a job from home? And there is some number +251. There's a WhatsApp message that comes in. Google it if you haven't received it yet now, so far. So you will see that there are certain messages which are coming and it has a link in it. I have been blocking my those WhatsApp, but there's a link in it. You know something, if I click that link, it will surely download a malware. God knows if it will block or lock my cell phone, and there would be a phone call from on another line saying that, pay me $10,000 to unlock your phone. Now that guy may know that I have important data in this. So I'll have to balance and weigh whether $10,000 is cheaper or my phone is cheaper. So if I find that the data in the phone is not so expensive, I'll let go of the phone, but I'll not pay this. But imagine if this happens on an enterprise network because of you, because my phone is connected to my same Wi-Fi on which this laptop is connected, which has all the information. In fact, these days, the phones also have all this information. So guys, what I'm talking about to you is that this is a bigger issue in 2021. And if there's one takeaway from today's session that you want to take it, it is this, that each one of you have to be aware about the security, because you are going to live in the world of AI or 5G or robots and so on and so forth. The world is changing. So this is one takeaway I would like you to go away with. Make sure you know how to use your mobile phone securely, because if you don't, then you will have a problem. Not just you, people around you, your family members, your colleagues, your institution, your organization, and wherever you are representing a club or whatever society you are a member of. So security awareness is one thing which is going to be the major thing in 2021 among everyone. Like I said, people will be moving from very slow internet. One of the statistics from one of the telcos came in that there are 300 crore people who are still using a 2G mobile phone. Guys, remember, when a mobile phone comes with a facility to watch a movie, with the facility to watch any video that I want, which may or may not be of my interest, facility would come that I can watch anything, anywhere, even in the remotest of the villages. Would I not spend rupees 4,500 on that device? Going by this hypothesis, each one of them, all the 300 crore people are going to buy that 5G enabled mobile phones. Now, imagine if that guy works with you, clicks on the phishing message, downloads the malware in his phone, sends a message, any kind of message to you, maybe a WhatsApp, maybe a small video, and since you know this guy, you will play your video, and then what happens? The malware gets downloaded via your Wi-Fi into your computer, gives me access to your computer, and I can do what I want. More than anything else, it's important that you and I are aware about this. So get equipped. Let's be better equipped in 2021. Companies like Apple, companies like Google are also coming. This is my last slide, but I want to tell you, look for such labels. These will be called as cyber nutrition labels. You can Google it and find it out, which will have information about a device. So when you purchase a device, could be a mobile phone or a phone or any kind of device around you, you will receive something like this, which will have basic product information, version number, where it was manufactured. It will have security mechanism as to who set the password, whether multiple account users are allowed in this particular thing or not. You will be able to have information which is related to data practices. You will have information which will be privacy and other information also available with you. The point I'm making is 2021 is going to be a wonderful year, provided we all are aware of the nuances of security. With this, once again, thanking you, the organizers. Here's Akash Agarwal signing off. So if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, sir. So we'll move on to the question answer session now. So the first question is, sir, how can we stay secure online in an increasingly more digital world where everything from education to entertainment and shopping is done in the digital space?
Educate yourself, train yourself. There are several ways. First of all, you have to choose the right educator. You should talk to the educator, educate yourself with what security insecurities could be, the devices that you're using. So everyone must go through that education and training. There's no other way out. So once you are educated yourself, whatever antivirus, anti-malware, firewalls you might be using, but it's important that you have that education installed inside you before you start using that.
Thank you, sir. Another question. So how can cybersecurity and its relevance be brought to a common man or a child who is forced to the digital era due to pandemic?
Beautiful question. It's one of the easiest answer is that there are several such ways of learning available today. But what's important is to first segregate who needs what. Can you prevent a child from using your iPad and internet? Can you prevent him from using certain child locks, etc.? Very, very difficult. Trust me, it's superbly difficult. So once again, I would say that there are several levels of such education which is available even for the children. You must tell them, because see, I have a son, although he's a grown-up now, but I've been dealing with kids for almost like 25 years now. So from my experience, I can tell that you cannot ask them to not use a particular thing, but you can train them how to use it properly. I'll give you one example. So if you want to teach them something, there are two ways of it. Either leave them, don't teach them anything. They'll go to YouTube and they'll learn all sorts of things. Second way is you teach them formally, so that you teach the right things. They would then know what to see and what not to see. So since I am a learned pupil of a lot of cybersecurity things, I'm a student of cybersecurity, in other words. So what I mean is, I don't go to YouTube and watch any video to see those things. I know which videos to watch and which not. So this is how one must, kind of educate and prevent children from security abuses, security related abuses.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So I request everyone to post their questions in the chat box. So these were the two questions that we had in the chat box. So please feel free to ask more questions, because it is a panel discussion. We can have more questions here. So yeah, there is another question.
Yeah. Yes,
Sir?
Fatima, go ahead.
Yes. So in terms of usage of technology in the current scenario, we are all immersed in it from the time we wake up to the time we sleep. We don't have an option.
I read that question. I read that question, and let me answer that. So, well, one of the ways is tell your office not to engage you in all the e-meetings all the time. That's one way of doing it. And so that's pretty unavoidable, I would say. But it's important, although it's not completely related with technology, but the way I practice is, I spend almost 18 to 20 hours on a peak day, 3 days a week at least, in front of a computer, because a lot of meetings and a lot of stuff that I do on computer and various devices. But I make sure that I practice certain health related practices, which helps me keep sane, and the number of my spectacles hasn't increased. I don't have headaches and so on and so forth. So that's important. But at the same time, it's important that you have the right kind of gadgets in front of you. There are certain I shouldn't say cheaper variants, but for example, if you're buying a laptop, you must have the right kind of screen. You must use the right kind of glare that is coming to you from it. All those things are very, very important, and you can kind of learn more during your training as to what are those things which are important. But there are clear-cut steps that one needs to take to prevent that. Say, for example, I even watch on a weekly basis what was my screen time, and I work towards it that my screen time goes down. I've given up a lot of things, specifically social media. Unless I want to see something, unless I want to research something, I don't go in there. I'm not against social media, I'm for it. But what's important is, don't go into that endless loop of looking at it. Have you ever realized when you are hooked onto any kind of a social media network, whichever it is endless. It keeps going on and on and on and on. And you never know when you had already spent 1.5 hours in it. So try and stop that immediately. So that should be the first step that I would suggest.
Thank you, sir. Another question. To supplement self-management of security, what are the ways that can be developed for using the synergy of social relationships? So am I audible?
Yes. So can you elaborate this self management of security? You can unmute this gentleman, Dr. Panikar.
Okay. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Yes. Yes, you already mentioned that. You described it all through your talk. You had to manage your own security, and you have to empower yourself for that. All that was explained very well. But there is a limit to it. For example, for people who are really not that um, uh, clever or that up to date,
Literate.
you need some help. That help should come from people who are around them. Basically, the society or the people who work with you or all the people, all the other people. So, how can we build up a a scheme that will automatically be there for getting the synergy out of it? Thank you.
Sir, I'll give you certain examples. I understand that what you're saying is that I've not been using technology for last 50 years, and suddenly this technology has come in, and I'm not talking about you in particular, but I'm talking in general. I meet a lot of people on this. So let me answer it in such a way. I hope that helps you. First of all, rule number 1, don't click on anything that you don't know. Rule number 2, don't know from where it is coming and what it is. Rule number 2, wait at least 30 seconds to 1 minute before you click on any attachment or anything that you're looking at. You'll be safer than what you are here today. See, there are issues like deep fakes. There are issues like people sending those phishing, etc., etc. Now, deep fakes means I'll have my face here, but it's not me. Someone else is speaking on my behalf. The lip movement, everything will be the same thing. But wait, relax. So if someone has sent me, I'll give you one example. If I receive a call from my father, I know it is his number. I know it is his voice. And he tells me, okay, you transfer 10,000 rupees to that gentleman. I'll do it, right? Something should ring in my mind. He's never asked me to transfer it like this. I know it is his number. I know it is his voice. So that's where stop and then do it. You don't need anyone to educate you there. As I mentioned, there's a formal education available for this. You must undergo this formal security awareness education. And this should always be a part of your daily reading, if not daily, weekly reading. So wait, then click. Don't just click. So there are several WhatsApp messages you might be receiving. Wait, read, then click. That's how we must, kind of go. That's what my advice would be, sir.
Thank you, sir.
May I ask one more question? How can we set up a scheme for it? Because this has to be updated all the time. You gave a few pieces of advice today, but there may be more things that are required. So is it possible to have some kind of a permanent arrangement in which automatically there will be people working together to protect themselves?
As someone had famously said, it's not if, it's when you will be hacked. So there was another saying, there are half of the world who says, yes, we were hacked, they know, and half of the world says we were not hacked. It actually means they don't know they were hacked. So it's never 100% that you will be safe. So I always go with a notion that, yes, people are watching me. Yes, my mobile phone is listening to me. Yes, I don't have any privacy as such. So I have to be critical on certain things. For example, as I said, stop, then click. At the same time, I use some things like two-factor authentication. Now, I have a computer. So it stores passwords, and it also gives me that this website, xyz.com, the password that you're using on this website to book your flight tickets, this password was a part of the data leak. Change your password. The computer tells me. But even if it is leaked, I'll always use, say, for example, two-factor authentication, which means unless you have the access to my mobile phone, you will not be able to get into it. Now, third, what I use is I've instructed my bank, for example, if you see any debit more than this, stop, ask me first. Whatever importance it might carry, ask me first, whatever time of the day it is. There have been a couple of times when I received a call from my bank, 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. So it's not that you'll be able to prevent, but it's good that if you subscribe to certain journals or certain newsletters, maybe once a week, you don't need to go it every day. Don't go overboard. There's nothing wrong with technology. If you're using technology, you'll become well versed with it. It's good. So technology is good. It's just don't abuse the technology, it'll bite back. So it's like a dog in the street. You hit it, it'll bite you back. So don't abuse the technology, it'll not bite you. That's how it is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can you say something about cybersecurity preparedness of India for future?
Oh, we are one of the foremost when it comes to technology for so many decades now. And being a technology leader around the world, having best of the best minds as far as development of software or infrastructure development in IT is concerned, we have been the best. So we are pretty much very, very well prepared. In fact, most of the top guns out there around the globe, they depend on the manpower that we have. They depend on the technology that we've brought out. Moreover, the government is coming up with the latest cybersecurity policy, which will actually take care of the global reset that we talked about in this call today. So overall, I would say, if you ask me, we are one of the best prepared because we are moving at a very breakneck speed. The world is coming up with 5G. We will be one of the foremost countries to come up with 5G. This will change a lot. The AI, VR, XR, MR, these things are going to change the world. So we are very well prepared, I believe.
Can you say something about your certification programs?
I'm sorry?
Certifications, you have 16 certifications, I understand.
Oh, we have plethora of them.
Something
Yeah,
you
sure.
can say, because there are people who like to upskill them, and there are students, who want to understand more about this kind of things,
See, why is certification required? Certification is required so that you can show it to people that you have that skill which is required to perform a particular, you have the ability to perform a particular job role or a task or a job task. So EC Council for last 2 decades have had certification programs, which also includes training programs, which actually skills and provides ability in the field, various fields of cybersecurity to perform several job roles. So if an organization is there, which is building up any infrastructure related to cybersecurity, they come to EC Council. They come to EC Council and they do our programs and certification so that they can have those people work in these. So it's a kind of workforce development program that we work with. So people who are interested to come into the field of cybersecurity, they can actually undergo these, they study these training programs and appear in the certification exams. They would be very, very required in the market as well. Secondly, I've been talking about security awareness. We've got a massive, we built up massive capacity in training. So today we can train more than 1 billion people at once when it comes to cybersecurity awareness. So we've been talking about, like Dr. Panikkar was asking, we've been training people on cybersecurity awareness. And I personally have been involved in projects that involve more than 1 million people at a time, training them into cybersecurity, what to do, what not to do, provide them things. We even have an app. As Dr. Panikkar said, how would I be able to update myself all the time? You don't need to go anywhere. EC Council has an app which will keep you updated all the time. You as a person, not just not your mobile phone, etc. But it's more important to have you updated all the time. So EC Council has an app there. So both these things, whether you want to get into into the world of cybersecurity as a professional, or you want to become aware about cybersecurity as a user, both these things are available. So more details are there on our website, and I'll be happy to answer them one-on-one also.
Okay. You know, this is because a lot of changes are happening. And how can we, for example, I suppose I take a certificate. Is it a permanent one or I have to upgrade myself?
Well, you'll have to keep upgrading yourself the way the entire world from the CII, from the Department of Defense to several military intelligence around the world, to several enterprises, almost all the Fortune 500 companies, the way they have been doing it, they take it for their people. They do this certification and they take a continuous education program from us. This continuing education program keeps you updated all the time. So you can't have a certificate because the world is changing so fast as we've been talking about it. So it has to be updated.
That means your certificate has got some period of, not like a permanent one. Suppose I take one certificate.
It can never be a permanent certificate.
I see. I need upgradation. And I understand that, you have a collaboration with the universities to provide a BTech program and MTech program in cybersecurity. Can you say something about that?
So we've got our own university. It's a fully accredited American university called EC Council University. It's an online university that provides graduate and postgraduate programs in cybersecurity. It also provides certification programs which are certified by the university. It's a fully accredited. It takes admissions 4 times a year. You can say in January, April, July, and October. So that's how the admission cycles are, where people can sit at home, do their BSc, MSc. It's an American university, fully accredited, taking admissions from all around the world. Several Indian students are studying right now as we speak.
I see. You know that in Kerala, now the new trend is to start the BTech program in cybersecurity. Whether you will be able to help in this process, some sort of collaboration or things like that, so that the real technology will come to the student.
Answer is yes, and we've been doing it for several years now. There are more than 1,800 universities that are getting our help around the world. From United States to Japan, we've got more than 1,800 universities who are getting benefited by this, where either we have extended our curriculum to them so that their students are now studying the best cybersecurity training that one can get on this planet, or we have built their cybersecurity degree programs from scratch. So suppose there is a university that they do not have a cybersecurity program, or they want an update on cybersecurity program, so we can build the entire program for them and work along with them so that their students get the best all the time.
I think there is no more questions there. Any more questions? People want to ask any more questions, please?
There are more questions in the chat box, so I'd like to render them.
Yeah.
Sir, what will happen to cybersecurity with the arrival of quantum computers?
When arrival of quantum computers, cybersecurity will live up to that. Cybersecurity will come to the speed with that. So when we talk about computers, we talk about cybersecurity. So much so that whoever is, in fact, there's been a dilemma there, actually. People who study cybersecurity in their colleges or university, and when they go out there to work there, the problem with them is that they haven't studied cybersecurity when they were studying these computers. So when a new thing comes up, there's a new breed of cybersecurity a new breed of cybersecurity experts that work on it. So what's important is whenever there is an advancement in any computing field, it's important that it comes along with cybersecurity. So I cannot say that if some advancement comes and then we'll think about cybersecurity. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like this anymore. It has to be along with it. So whatever is being developed, cybersecurity would be a part of it. So a detailed thing would be an out of scope. It'll take a lot of time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Another question. So we had a temporary Google crash, right? So what is your opinion regarding that Google crash that we had?
My opinion about Google crash, it should not happen. They'll take all the measures to avoid that.
Yeah. Another question. Such security measures like reset password don't exist in our online banks. So isn't banking the area we need to be more critical in cybersecurity?
I'm not sure which bank he's talking about, but my banks, all my banks have that particular facility. And to add to it, in fact, the banking industry is one of the foremost when it comes to cybersecurity. RBI has been very, very vigilant when it comes to updation of cybersecurity policy. They invest a lot of money and resources to ensure that their users, the normal public who are using banking in India, is safe. In fact, I can go to an extent of saying banking in India is one of the safest when compared to anywhere in the world. It's just that people are not aware of how to use it. So most of us use mobile banking these days, and gone are those days. I mean, I don't carry my wallet anymore. It's more of digital, and possibly I don't remember when I used cash last time, or I even carried more than 500 rupees in my pocket, and that to one single note. Everything else is on my mobile phone. The idea is banks are safe, are you? So he needs to check with the bank, why is password reset not there? In fact, he should now immediately ask for two-factor authentication. So there must be something missing there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Another question. So what is reasonable startup time and what is a reasonable shutdown time also for switching application?
I'm not sure what this question means, but does it mean that what is the time duration we should work on a particular application? Is that what the question is?
Hariharan, sir, if you can you please unmute yourself to comment on?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear
Please
me?
go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, loud and clear.
The question is, when you start a computer, before the first screen comes, it takes some time. And when the viruses are there or the cyber security is at risk, this time is going to increase. And so also when the shutdown is taking, or you are switching applications, or you are opening a file which is infected, the time goes up very heavily. But so whatever the thing is, I mean, like, what the, the time for which, when you are doing these steps, if it is more than that, there's a likelihood of a cyber insecurity. I hope.
Yeah, so I think I get the question. So what you mean is, when I click on the power button, how much time ideally it should take for the login window to open?
Yes.
Computer, how much time it should take to completely shut down, and when open MS Word, for example, how much time MS Word should take, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it actually, sir, I'm sorry to it's not funny, but I understand your pain where you're coming from. I'll first answer your and then tell you what I do. So have it for a very long time in my life, but then I learned it, but it was long ago, long ago. It's important that your computer boots up fast and shuts down fast. An application opens very, very quickly. That you can see which computer you're using, which operating system you're using, which application you're using, because it varies from computer to computer, application to application. So that you can look at the operating system and applications. The manuals would have all those details. And if it is becoming more than that, you should consider removing there are certain steps that also would be given there, what to do, maybe run an antivirus, or remove certain files, or reformat your computer, or whatever steps. I would not suggest anything here on this call, because I don't know which computer you're using, and I'm not an expert on operating system or something. But it completely depends on computer to computer. Now, let me tell you about my computer. I use a computer that I never shut down. I just close the lid and I carry it. The computer restarts only when there is a major update that comes. I use a certain operating system, which I really love. And the thing that you said was very interesting, that how much time an application is taking. So I keep an eye on it. If the application is taking more than the time that it is slated for, then I check whether my memory is empty, the RAM is not empty or not, or it's being used up in various other, used up by various other applications, etc. So you must have that knowledge that where it is being used. So don't open so many windows, don't run too many applications together, and so on and so forth. So there's a whole list of things that would be available. You can Google it and can find it easily. But your question is very pertinent. I can understand the pain that you might be going through while asking this.
Hello? Hello?
Yes.
I mean, like, as you rightly put it. Hello?
Yes,
Please
go ahead.
Carry on. Please carry on.
As you rightly put it, it depends on computer to computer. Okay. Now,
yes.
I'd like to ask direct question that on the computer, on your own computer, how much time it takes to start up? Half a minute? 1 minute?
15 seconds.
15 seconds. Shut down?
I don't shut down.
Okay, you don't shut down. Switch off application. You want to start, when you start a new application, 5 seconds, 10 seconds?
15, 20 seconds, depending on which application, sometimes 1 minute.
I am looking for some guidance. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So there's another one which talks about value of these certification programs in the labor market. So it's a very pertinent question. So when EC Council awards a certificate, it is valued by almost all the organizations that are there on this planet, because when you have a Department of Defense which has the Pentagon or CIA as a part of it, as a constituent, when they recognize this, or when you have a GCHQ that recognizes it, when you have several governments around these countries, they recognize it. When you have Fortune 1000 companies, Fortune 500 companies, they recognize it. You can imagine that every other organization. So if you are carrying a certification from EC Council, walk into an organization, you will be considered qualified.
Any more? I think there are.
So once again, was there a data breach during the crash? I am no expert to comment on that, so I would like to pass that question. You can go and Google it, and normally it happens that whenever there is something of cybersecurity attack, there's one of those things, could be a data breach also, but I'm no expert on this.
So hope there are no more questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put in the chat box again as well. So
there is one question regarding whether a certificate will be issued to the participants. What about IEEE? Will give a certificate? Participation certificate?
So, in the registration link that we've provided, you can mention whether you need a certificate. So henceforth, you will be given a certificate if you need it. Yeah, that's how
Sorry, I want to interrupt. There is a feedback link. You just click it and you indicate I want a certificate, and you will be getting a certificate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it is the feedback link that you have to go for. Yeah, so that's with the question answer session that we had. If you have any more questions, please feel free, as I said. So as we come to an end of the session now, I would like to request Ajina Abdul Karim of EMBS to give the vote of thanks. Can we have you, ma'am?
Yeah. Hi, Fida. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you, Fida. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I consider it as an honor to be presenting the vote of thanks representing EMBS for the 37th talk of Intersociety weekly webinar series, jointly organized by the Institution of Engineers, Kerala State Center, Computer Society of India Trivandrum Chapter, Project Management Institute Kerala Chapter, Internet Society Trivandrum Chapter, Vakkom Moulavi Foundation Trust Trivandrum, IEEE Engineering and Medicine and Biology Society Kerala Chapter. This great venture, initiated by Haridlal sir, is being successfully coordinated throughout these 37 talks, and I am really overwhelmed with great talks being presented by enormous speakers out here. The new phase of the session is to bring effective panel discussion to the table, and today's discussion was indeed a great eye-opener to all the attendees, I hope. It gives me immense pleasure to thank the whole team for presenting such an interesting topic and let us think outside of the box. First and foremost, I thank Mr. Akash Agarwal, Regional Director at E-Commerce Council, for accepting our invitation and presenting a commendable keynote address for the evening. I, on behalf of the whole team of IWWS Talks, wholeheartedly thank Mr. Akash Agarwal for an excellent talk and spontaneous, on-the-point answers. Thank you so much, sir. The talk was smooth going under the leadership of our esteemed moderator, Professor S. Shishikumaran, CEO, METTSS, Trivandrum. Despite of his busy schedules, Dr. Shishikumaran found his time in moderating the session. I, on behalf of the whole team, thank you, sir, for the efforts and for being a wonderful moderator throughout the discussion. Thank you, sir. I need to specially mention about the eye-catching opening address we had today. All credit goes to Mr. K. Padmakumar, Managing Director of Kerala State Rotronics. I, on behalf of the whole team, convey special gratitude to you, sir. Let me also thank Dr. N. Panikar, Dr. S. Ratnakumar, sir, and other professionals who have joined us today. Thank you all for being with us from the very start. Next, I convey my sincere gratitude to our proactive SAC of Kerala section, Professor Nanthan, sir, for his time and effort that he always shares with us. I, on behalf of the whole team, thank you, sir, for the support and encouragement for the talk series that you have been extending throughout. Thank you so much, sir. Next, I would like to thank Hariharan, sir, Chair of Intersociety, for his heartfelt dedication in organizing this program. I'm really amazed at this Iron Man's passion in coordinating all the talks till date. I see a lot of effort from his side from the very start. I really appreciate your entrance and dedication, sir. I take this opportunity to thank you for all the talks that you have arranged for us till date. Thank you, sir. I take this opportunity to thank Ms. Athena Nixon for presenting a warm welcome address for the session. Thank you, ma'am. Let me also thank the wonderful host of the series, Ms. Fatima, IEEE volunteer. You are really a support pill to the talk series. Thank you, Fida. I wholeheartedly thank all the societies, the Institution of Engineers, Kerala State Center, Computer Society of India, Trivandrum Chapter, Project Management Institute, Kerala Chapter, Intersociety, Trivandrum Chapter, Vakkom Moulavi Foundation Trust, Trivandrum, IEEE Engineering and Medicine and Biology Society, Kerala Chapter, who have been providing the valuable support in conducting the event jointly. I thank all the attendees of the day and all other volunteers working behind the curtain to make this Intersociety weekly webinar series a very success. That's all for today. Thank you. Thank you all.
Ajina, please declare the next talk, please. Intersociety weekly webinar series talk 38.
Yeah, I'll mention it. So thank you, ma'am. So with this, we've come to an end of the 37th session of the Intersociety weekly webinar series. And now the next session that we have is our 38th talk of the Intersociety weekly webinar series. It is on brain death, a misnomer, medically unproven, religiously wrong, philosophically unacceptable, and a legal fiction. It is by Dr. Sadanandan Ganapati from 6 to 7 p.m. on the 30th of December, 2020, Wednesday. So the topic seems really interesting. So hope all of you attend that session as well. And once again, I'd like to thank all our speakers for the day. Our keynote speaker, Akash sir, Shashikumar sir, and Padmakumar sir, thank you so much for taking such a good session for us. I wholeheartedly thank all of you, and thank you, Harindalal sir, for organizing our event. Once again, thanking everyone, and thank you to all the attendees who've joined us today. Henceforth, I declare the meeting is closed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
And can I say something?
Yes, sir.
Please.
Yeah. See, on behalf of EC Council, on behalf of Rotronics and METS, we would like to express our gratitude towards IEEE and its family for giving us a wonderful opportunity to address this very important issue. And I'm sure that, this issue is a big issue, so that, a lot of questions can come, a lot of things can come in the future. If at all it requires for more involvement by EC Council's discussions, I'm glad to do that one. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. It is indeed really good to have this session, as you said. And it is very informative as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.